Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to the demo SPAR session. This is basically the demo for 1v1 debate that is going to be the first phase of debate training for IDL 4.0. So the first rounds are going to be 1 versus 1. The format for the demo session is basically that there's main speech, which is for 3 minutes, which is going to be by for the motion. Then we have a main speech by against the motion, which is also for 3 minutes, followed by a 3 minutes reply for the motion, and then 3 minutes reply against the motion. So totally there are 4 speeches. Essentially what happens is each speaker gives speech twice. One is main speech and one is reply speech. Main speech is basically for you to know the positives and why exactly your stance is better. Reply speech is to prove why opponent's side is actually bad, which means you find out all the flaws in opponent's arguments, and then you tell as to why you win the debate. So the entire flow looks like for speech by the proposition for 3 minutes, then against speech by the opposition for 3 minutes, followed by reply speech for 3 minutes by for the motion, and reply speech against the motion also for 3 minutes. With that, today we have two of our kids who are from the CDC club. So we run city debating clubs for training students like you to basically debate well, to know the basic understandings of debate technicalities, etc. But we also prepare them for tournaments so that they can actually do well in those tournaments as well. So I'm really proud to announce that today for the motion is going to be Ira. Against the motion is going to be Mohammed. So the motion for today is this house would make all public transport free of cost. So side proposition says that we should make public transport free of cost. Side opposition says that no, we shouldn't make public transport free of cost. Essentially, the debate revolves around what are the benefits of making public transport free of cost on side proposition. And then on opposition, the debate revolves around what are the harms of making public transport free of cost. With that, I invite the speaker for the motion. Ira, whenever you're ready, if you're here.
Okay. Panel, I'll be starting in 3, 2, 1. Barack Obama once said, "We are the generation to feel the impact of climate change and the last generation that can do anything about it." Greetings to the jury, my worthy opposition, and the House at large. I am the first speaker and I'm proudly proposing the motion. The framing of this debate is as follows. Making public transport free means eliminating all fares of buses, trains, and trams. Passengers won't need to buy tickets or passes. Travel would be completely cost-free for everyone, whether commuting for work, school, or daily activities. The stakeholders in this debate are everyday citizens. The public transport affects everyone who relies on it for daily needs like commuting and education. For low-income individuals, transport are a burden. Making it free enhances economic mobility and lightens their financial load. Thirdly, the government, and obviously our planet. Panel, I'll be proving 2 things to you today. Firstly, making public transport free will solve major problems like pollution, inequality, and traffic, while being practical and beneficial for everyone in the long run. Secondly, how this is going to have more benefits than harms. To prove this, I have 2 arguments. Firstly, environmental benefits. Secondly, economic mobility and equality. I'll jump straight to my first argument. Making public transport free will help reduce pollution and fight climate change. When public transport is free, more people will choose to ride buses, and trains instead of driving their own cars. This means fewer cars on the road, which will lead to less air pollution and fewer harmful emissions. Public transport is also more energy efficient than cars, so more people using it means less fuel burnt overall. According to the UNEP report, cities that invest in public transport see significant environmental improvements. For example, in cities like Bogota, Colombia, public transport initiatives help reduce carbon emissions and improve air quality by reducing the number of cars on the road. To pay for public transport, governments can relocate money they would usually spend on building or maintaining roads for cars. In our world, this solves the problem of pollution and makes cities cleaner, whereas in their world, it sticks to a system that keeps making things worse with more cars and more pollution. On to my second argument. Free public transport helps low income individuals by giving them access to better jobs and education and opportunities. Transport costs can be a big burden, especially for people with low incomes. According to UNEP, in cities like
Amma,
Nairobi
Dave.
and Kenya, improved and if affordable public transport has helped low income residents access better job opportunities and essential services such as healthcare and education. In our world, with free public transport, everyone has equal access to jobs and education, improving economic mobility, while in their world, transport costs keep low income individuals stuck with fewer opportunities, which is not fair. In conclusion, making public transport free will create cleaner and fairer and more accessible society for everyone. So proud to propose.
I thank the speaker for that wonderful speech. Now would like to invite the speaker against the motion, Mohammed, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Nothing in life is free. Someone always pays for it. These words by the economist Milton Friedman highlighted a fundamental truth about economics. When a service is labeled free, the costs don't disappear. They merely shift. Today, I stand firmly against the proposition to make public transport free of cost. I will highlight three main factors. Financial burden on the government and taxpayers. First, free public transport places a tremendous financial burden on the government, which would ultimately need to be covered by taxpayers. Public transportation systems already operate at significant costs. Maintaining infrastructure, fuel, salaries, and more. If fares are removed, these costs won't vanish. Instead, they will be paid through increased taxes or cut in other essential services like healthcare and education. Citizens, whether they use public transport or not, will shoulder this financial responsibility. Decline in service quality and infrastructure. Second, the introduction of free transport often leads to a decline in service quality. When there is no direct income for users, public transport systems might suffer from underfunding. This lack of funds can result in delayed maintenance, fewer upgrades, overcrowded vehicles, and fewer routes, leading to an overall drop in the quality of the service. Such degradation ultimately makes the system less efficient and less attractive to use. Environmental and social imbalance. Finally, making public transport free doesn't guarantee that it will be more environmentally sustainable or socially equitable. In fact, when services are free, people who can afford cars might use public transport simply because it's free, causing unnecessary crowding. Those who genuinely rely on the system, people from lower income backgrounds, might suffer the most from this congestion and reduced service quality, thus creating the opposite of this intended social quality. In conclusion, while the idea of free public transport sounds appealing, in practice, it would result in heavier taxpayers' burdens, deteriorating service quality, and potential social imbalance. Instead of making it free, a better approach would be improving affordability and ensuring efficiency. Ultimately, someone always pays. And in this case, it will be all of us.
I thank the speaker for that wonderful speech. I would now request the speaker for the motion to present a reply speech here. Anna, you're muted.
I'll start in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and fellow debaters, the opposition claimed that the system will face underfunding if public transport is made free. But we've already shown how this can be covered through relocating budgets and introducing small taxes like congestion charges without harming the other services. In today's debate, we believe that negative impacts of keeping public transport paid are much greater than any positives. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Comparing both teams' contributions, our team has highlighted two main points. First, that making public transport free will help reduce pollution and tackle climate change. Second, it will improve economic equality by giving everyone, especially low income people, access to better jobs, education, and other opportunities. Panel, if you vote for the opposition, you'll be voting for a world where inequality grows, pollution gets worse, and many people remain stuck without opportunities. And it contributes to their health. Their side wants to keep transport costs, which means low income families will continue struggling with expensive travel, and cities will still stay full of traffic, which means it will still stay full of traffic and pollution. And the opposition has said that free public transport costs too much. But my response to that is clear. The long-term benefits, which are cleaner air, better health, and fairer opportunities, are far more important than the upfront costs. Why do we believe our side has won this debate? Because we've given real-life examples from cities like Bogota and Nairobi, where public transport improvements have reduced emissions and helped lower income people. Our plan is realistic and good for the environment, and it helps everyone. In conclusion, I would like to say, while the opposition wants to keep charging for public transport, this would only lead to more inequality and pollution and fewer opportunities for those who need it the most. So proud to propose.
I thank the speaker for that wonderful speech. I would now like to invite the opposition speaker to present their reply speech and conclude the debate. Here.
Throughout this debate, we've heard claims about accessibility and equity, but we must look at the reality of their arguments. While the proposition may focus on idealistic benefits, we cannot ignore the real world consequences of such policies. Financial instability. The opposition has repeatedly pointed out the immense financial strain free transport would impose on governments. What's critical here is that the proposition has failed to sufficiently address where this money will come from. Raising taxes disproportionately affects middle class families, and cutting funds from other vital sectors such as healthcare and education would do more harm than good. The opposition has clearly demonstrated that the cost will not vanish but will shift in ways that hurt society as a whole. Decline in service quality. We also argued that free transport would lead to a sharp decline in the quality of services due to reduced revenue. The proposition dismissed the concern but failed to propose a feasible way to maintain the same standard of service without the necessary funds. Public transport systems
आगे कॉल
अरे डेमो लाइव वो चल रहा है
Public transport systems require consistent
खाली
maintenance.
नहीं लैपटॉप पे मेरे वाले पे कर लेता
Public transport systems require consistent maintenance and investment in infrastructure to ensure they remain efficient. Without user fees, these vital resources are significantly diminished. Environmental and social impacts. The proposition claimed that making transport free would solve environmental and social issues. But that argument lacks depth. We have shown that overcrowding due to indiscriminate use would harm those who genuinely depend on public transport. Instead of increasing accessibility, it would create a system in which overcrowding diminishes the quality of service, defeating the purpose of making it free for all. In conclusion, at the end of this debate, it's clear that while the idea of free public transport is appealing on the surface, the practical implications are far from beneficial. Our side has shown that this policy would cause financial burdens, degrade service quality, and fail to address social inequities efficiently. Therefore, the opposition has clearly won this debate by presenting a realistic, balanced, and sustainable approach to public transportation. Thank you.
I thank the speaker for that wonderful speech, and I thank both the speakers for coming in today at such a short notice. I think I want to start with the fact that both the speakers just got this topic 1 hour before, and they did absolutely amazing in preparing for it. For you all, it'll be different because you'll get this topic 3 days before. So that is one. But the second thing is, can you guys guess which grade they both are from? Ira is in 6th grade and Mohammed is in 4th grade. So it was middle versus junior, if you all never realized this. So I think both of them did amazingly good. And I'm really, really proud of both of them. Specifically, I think if you tell me to give a speech in 1 hour, I think I'll be really stressed. But I think both of them did extremely, extremely good. So good job to both of them. And for people who were asking, are they reading the speech? Yes, because nobody can actually remember a speech in 1 hour. So I think that's fine. But for your speech, because you're getting 3 days of prep time, you are expected to remember some part of your speech at least, right? That is one. But I think both of their speeches in terms of reply was on the spot. So that is great as well. All right. So I wanted to know your answers for a couple of questions, right? So I want to ask you questions and I want to see how many of you were actually listening to the debate properly. So if you know the answer, put it in the chat box. Whoever gets the answer first wins this like whole fastest fingers first. Okay. All right. Starting with the first question. Who did the so what was that? Okay. Are you all on your keyboard right now? I want you all to be ready. All right.
Yes.
Which famous personality did the proposition quote in their opening speech? Very nice. Which famous personality did the opposition quote in their opening speech? Yes, the correct answer is Barack Obama. Okay. An economist? Okay. Okay. Mohammed, do you want to respond to that? What was which famous personality did you quote?
Yeah, actually, I quoted the quote of the famous economist Milton Friedman.
So Vihan got it right. Good job. So people who are actually listening to this entire thing very carefully, really, really happy.
Ma'am, Mohammed was op.
Yes, I know. I said op. So I first asked prop and then op. Okay, the next question then is how many arguments did the proposition have? Quickly in the chat box. So those who are saying 2, y'all are correct. Those who are saying 3, y'all are not correct. It was only 2 arguments. Okay, the next question is how many arguments did the opposition have in their speech? Opposition had 3 arguments. Okay. My next question is it absolutely necessary for us to have 3 arguments in our speech? The answer is not necessarily, but we told you to keep 3 arguments, so your body is actually full of content. But because Ira was already explaining each argument extremely well, she didn't add another argument per se. Okay, wonderful. The next question is, what was that you observed in Muhammad's reply speech opening? So what was different in Muhammad's opening speech? So Muhammad's opening speech in reply was basically him basically him telling what was exactly wrong with proposition speech. So it was an observation about the debate. And there's something we already told you as well. So that is what they did. All right. My next question is, Ira was responding to one of the arguments from opposition. So which argument from opposition did Ira respond to the best? Taxpayers' money, that the funds would get shifted. Okay. Okay. Ira, do you want to respond to that? Was it the response that you gave in your speech?
The response I gave in my speech, the reply
Yeah.
speech.
Yeah. So
Uh,
they're saying that your best response was the response on taxpayers' money.
yeah, I was saying that it introduces small tax and congestion charges.
Okay, yeah. So that y'all are right. That was the response from Ira's speech. Now, next question is, what was something absolutely wrong with proposition's first speech? One thing that you had to,
Ma'am, can you please repeat the question once more, ma'am?
what did you feel was wrong in proposition's first speech? So far, I haven't gotten the right answer. No, no, no. The answer is her camera was off and that was wrong.
Ma'am, I forgot to turn my camera off, and I was standing and speaking like with hand expression.
With
I was
all of your
while my
expressions.
camera
Yeah.
was off.
Yeah. So what was wrong in her speech is that in your actual speech, you're supposed to keep your cameras on.
Yeah.
Ira forgot to do it, but she was still being very active. So you could tell in her voice modulation that her manner was still good. That is one. So what are the three criterias for you to judge a debate? Quickly in the chat box. Matter, manner, and
Miss, can you repeat the question?
what are the three criteria for judging a debate? Yes, matter, manner, and method. So I want you all to notice that in terms of matter, both of them had good content because one, they both had really good arguments and relevance of arguments to the topic. But the second thing to note is that they also use great examples and statistics. For example, Ira used a statistic and research from UNEP report that is really necessary and it is very credible as well. So that's something that you need to do in your speech as well. So your speech should not just simply have arguments, but it should also have like facts and like statistics that are actually true. Okay. So it's supposed to be the heading of argument, you reasoning it out, and then going ahead and giving an example from real life. That is one. In terms of manner, you're supposed to keep your camera on. You're supposed to have voice modulation. You're supposed to have hand gestures, etc. But make sure that you're reading, like you're not reading particularly. You're supposed to be confident and you're supposed to probably refer to your sheet sometimes because again it's a debate, it's not a speech event, right? So refer to sheets, it's okay, but like you reading the entire speech is not okay. But if you have noticed, both of the speakers today had like really little time to actually prepare for it, which is why they were also reading the speech. But sometimes I think they weren't reading, they were just simply referring to the sheets as well. So that is one as in terms of manner. In terms of method then, if you notice if you noticed one thing, then whose speech did you think went over time in this entire debate?
Ira.
Okay. So both of them,
How will we introduce ourselves? Both of them.
yeah, both of them had some of their speeches going over time. So when you go over time, your marks are actually cut. So this is not just a demo for you to know what to do, but you also what not to do, because we're not perfect as well. So when you go over time, your marks are cut for that as well. But also if you're exactly on time, it's 15 seconds above, 15 seconds lower, that is okay. But one thing I would still, one reason as to why I would still give good scores to both of them for method is that they had really good structure. You could tell which was their first argument, which was their second argument. They were really very good with opening. They were very good with closing. They had like an introduction, then a body, then conclusion. So I would still give them really good marks for method because they had really good structure. So make sure that you're also following the structure that has been given to you. But all in all, I think both of them did really good. All the best to all of y'all. That is pretty much it for the demo today. Thank you so much for joining today, Ira and Mohammed. And that is it for the session. Bye bye.